if they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
Embiid never had the mentality to win a championship. I don't think he ever will win a championship.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Full Court Report.
And we're back.
Guy lies
What
to my
up?
face. Guy lies to my face.
How did I lie? What did I lie about?
That he changed my part of the intro.
Oh, yeah, that was a joke. That was a joke.
I
Well,
was looking forward to it.
we're back. Episode number 19 of this 2024-2025 NBA season. How you guys doing?
Swell.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah. We got the holidays coming up in about a week. A lot of these holidays. So happy holidays to whatever you celebrate. It's a fun time of the year, you know? So enjoy it.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Jorie, that's a crazy background.
Yeah, I saw this on Twitter. Somebody said this was Shea without 20 free throws. So
Wow.
yeah. AI is getting a little out of hand, but what are we gonna do? I thought it was funny. But
What else, say?
yeah, a lot going on in the NBA, and we got a fun little segment planned. But the biggest news, I think, the Bucks, they took the NBA Cup crown. They have won the in-season tournament. They defeated the Thunder 97-81 in the championship game out there in Las Vegas. Giannis, I think, had like 35, 19, and 10 or something in the game. Another MVP performance from him. But yeah, I mean, you know, it was a fun matchup, the NBA Cup. And as a whole, there's a lot of great matchups. But the Bucks, they come out victorious. And, you know, really, I'm just curious, I mean, how you guys think this win will impact Milwaukee's season, you know, moving forward. Do you think if this gives them some confidence, you know, for the rest of the year, or if you guys think it doesn't mean anything at all? I would, you know, it's totally what you guys think. So I don't know.
I think it helps a lot. I think it kind of keeps them committed or determined on, the goal of winning a championship. It definitely gives them a big confidence boost, like you said. And I like what Darvin Ham said. The Bucks did not really celebrate with champagne and popping bottles and all that stuff because, I don't know, I guess he said he saw what it did to the Lakers and they ended up not winning. So he was like, we kind of like Kobe, job's not finished. Got to stay locked in and don't let this get to your head too much, but, use it as fuel and, keep it moving. They were already, they were on a good run. I think they won like 11 of their last 13 before that game or something like that. So, they were already on their way up. And I think they're just going to keep it moving. Like I said last week, I think it was. I think you put them right up there with Boston and Cleveland for, favorites in the East. So if this is a finals matchup, they know they can win.
Yeah.
All right. I slightly agree with you. I don't think it's going to have I mean, at the end of the day, it is a regular season award. So, it's, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter too much. They're literally playing for money. But I do think it is a big confidence boost for them, especially after the way they started the season. They were actually awful. And I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know if this is the team where Doc Rivers is going to take them to where they want to be. I don't put them on the same level as Boston and Cleveland at this point.
Okay. I mean, that's totally fair. I think Boston's, kind of separated themselves last season. They obviously proved they can be a championship team, and Cleveland has been fantastic. But, I mean, this Bucks team is playing very well right now. I feel like Doc Rivers just in general, his whole career really has gotten a lot of criticism for being, not the best coach, whatever. And, even last year when they brought him in, a lot of people were questioning why they got rid of Adrian Griffin, after, starting the season with a really good record. But I feel like Doc is really starting to figure out this team. I'm not saying he's like the best coach in the league or anything, but even watching this NBA Cup game, I felt like I think it really comes down with like his substitutions. I don't know why. That's like one thing that I really noticed. Every time I feel like the Bucks like kind of needed a sub, and I was like thinking like what player could they bring in right now and who should he sub out, and that's exactly what happened, right? Like it's like let's say I don't know, Torian Prince was on the floor or something and he's been out there for however long, then he brings in Gary Trent and I feel like they don't miss a beat. Or like Damian Lillard's on the bench, and Giannis is kind of like struggling, kind of generating offense. They bring him into the game. Like I feel like Doc is really just doing a really good job in that sense with the rotation. And I feel like that's contributing to the Bucks' success a lot. But I mean, at the end of the day, they have Giannis, who, we'll talk about potentially a little bit later in the show, playing like an MVP. And like I said, I think maybe last episode or 2 episodes ago, I just feel like this team is really well constructed around Giannis right now, at least offensively, with all their shooting that they have. I feel like he has so much space to operate, and I feel like he's playing a lot of point guard, just handling the ball a lot, bringing the ball up. So I don't know. Like you said, Toby, I don't know if I'm ready to say that they're up there with Boston and Cleveland, maybe even your Knicks, Justin, but like, I don't know. I think this is going to be a competitive team.
I'll put them above the Knicks.
Interesting.
Honestly, I might too. And when the season's all done and over with, I think the Bucks might be better than the Knicks. But like we were saying, I think I'll be a little salty if Doc wins another chip somehow. If he can win a chip with his team, I think I'll be a little salty because then all of that whole narrative goes away, and I'm really a fan of that narrative that this guy can't win in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not. It's the NBA Cup, obviously, still very early in the season, and the playoffs are a whole different animal. But you gotta admit, it was pretty impressive. I think the Bucks were 7-0 during all their NBA Cup games. I don't think they had a single loss. So, yeah, shout out Milwaukee.
Darvin Ham is 14-0 in the play-in in his career.
Look at that. Yeah, I guess last year with the Lakers and now with the Bucks. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And they didn't even have Chris Middleton in this game in the NBA Cup championship against the Thunder. So, but I remember seeing that report like earlier in the day and thinking like, you know what? I still think the Bucks can win this game. And they went out there and they really just took over. It was really, I thought in the first half it was a close game, and then the third quarter they really just started pulling away. And the Thunder, like, they just could not make any threes. I forget what they shot from behind the behind the arc in that game, but it felt like they couldn't make a single three. So that definitely played a part in why they lost. But what are you gonna do? It was still a fun game, I thought. But now that's behind us, and I guess I don't know. What do you like? Do you think with the Bucks, or at least they've achieved this NBA Cup championship? Do you think there could be like a hangover effect where it's like, oh well, the rest of the season up until the playoffs, at least none of these games, there's not much of an incentive as there is now. With the all the money that they got. You guys think they can't, like, maybe don't take it as seriously moving forward? Do you think there's a possibility of that?
I don't think so. I think they're going to keep trying. I mean, I feel like they're trying to get as high a seed as possible now since they started off so bad, and they're playing catch up a little bit. And like Justin said before, they weren't out there like popping bottles and stuff. I feel like they kept it very professional.
A literal hangover, yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
So I think that shows like where the team's like headspace is at as far as trying to be competitive in the East.
I think they, keep keep it moving. I think everybody, like a lot of people on that team, have a chip on their shoulder. Like I was just clowning Doc for his, the narrative on his career. He's probably trying to prove people wrong. Darvin Ham knows he got did dirty in LA, and he's trying to prove that he's not a bummy coach. And Giannis is always locked in, and that guy Dame, he's still hunting for that his first championship. So I feel like all four of those guys, especially, are definitely going to be locked in moving forward. Like I don't think they're going to slow down.
Yeah, and there was like a big talking point, at least on this broadcast, the NBA Cup, like Dame just mentioning how he feels a lot more comfortable this year than he did last year, because I think there was a whole thing last year where he was, the transition from Portland to Milwaukee was like a lot for him, and he was dealing with like family things. So like he's finally kind of has a clear head and can just focus on being the best basketball player possible. And so I think we're kind of seeing that, and,
Yeah,
I thought he was fine last year, but I think he's playing really well again this year.
yeah, he's playing like prime Dame. I mean, I don't want to get all up into his business too much, but I'm pretty sure that guy like got divorced last season or something. So he was probably going through it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy, these are human beings at the end of the day, and they're all dealing with their own things. So, can't always just criticize them for not playing up to par, I guess. But again, I think Dame is playing really well, and this whole Bucks team is playing really well. So definitely an interesting team moving forward. And congrats to them winning the NBA Cup.
Yeah,
But
what up, Milwaukee?
yeah. But I thought this would be a fun little segment that I, was just trying to figure out a way to talk about as many different things as possible. And I think this is a fun way to do it. So basically, I'm going to give you guys two scenarios for the rest of the season, maybe. And you guys just have to tell me which one is more likely to happen. It's that simple. And you can, explain yourself or whatnot. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the first one I have, what is more likely, the 76ers making the playoffs or the Lakers making the playoffs? And, the reason why I picked these two teams, obviously the Sixers, well, I guess I can mention, they're 8-16. They're currently 12th in the Eastern Conference. So even to, have a chance at making the playoffs, they'd have to move up just to make the play-in. They're behind Detroit, Brooklyn, Chicago, and Indiana right now. I guess that would if the season ended today, I'm pretty sure that would be the play-in tournament for the playoffs. Embiid suffered a sinus fracture this past Friday, so he's again just dealing with more injuries. I think he was listed as questionable for tomorrow's game against the Hornets, so who knows? We'll see if he's out there. And then to make matters even worse, Jared McCain, he tore his meniscus, and he's out indefinitely. I saw it's like, I don't know if it's like a full tear, so there's a chance that he could have some type of surgery where he would be able to come back this season, but, it's already, late December, so there's no.
He already had surgery.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, I saw videos of him all over Instagram. Guy was zooted.
Oh, boy.
Painkiller drugs.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think, it depends on what surgery it was. I think there are some surgeries where he could, again, potentially come back this year. But, again, that's never a good thing. So, again, Sixers are going through it. But the Lakers, I felt like this was interesting. Obviously, a great team. You got LeBron, AD. But they're jam-packed with a lot of teams in the Western Conference right now. They got the Kings and the Spurs, who are both playing about 500 basketball. They're right behind them. So they're going to be very competitive for the whole season. The Clippers, currently head of the Lakers, and I've been seeing reports of Kawhi is starting to ramp up. He's, back at practice, playing 5-on-5. The Clippers have a road trip right now, or they're on a road trip, and he's traveling with the team. So that's definitely a good sign as well. So we might be seeing Kawhi relatively soon, which could change a lot. And then, you got Minnesota, Golden State, Phoenix, also ahead of the Lakers right now. So, again, The West is very, very competitive. I mean, if I were to say OKC, Memphis, Houston, and Dallas, they all seem like playoff locks right now. So that, again, only leaves 4 spots for all those teams I just mentioned. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What's more likely, the 76ers or the Lakers?
Well, after you explained all that, you might have changed my answer, Jory. I'm not gonna lie. I really was gonna say I think I speak for both of us, me and Toby, when I say the Lakers. But now that I think about it, the Sixers, if they sneak into the play-in, are beating any of those teams if they have Joel Embiid at even 70% and Paul George. Like, we don't really know what's going to happen with Jared McCain, but if they have those two, even at 70%, I think they're spanking the rest of those teams. So I don't know about you, Toby, but I think I'm switching my answer. And I think Philly, if they can sneak into that play-in, I think they could sneak into the playoffs.
Man, you switch it up.
Yeah, I switched it up.
I don't know. I feel like even though the East is a easier conference to get into the playoffs, I still like the Lakers a little bit more. I feel like we're coming up to trade deadline. They could make a move. I don't know if Philly's gonna make any moves this year, but I just feel like with Embiid being consistently inconsistent, being out so much this year, they have to adjust when he comes back. They can't play the same basketball. I feel like Maxey and McCain were really gelling. So if McCain didn't get injured, it might be a different story. But I don't know. I feel like JJ Redick and LeBron James can lead the Lakers to the playoffs.
All right. Yeah, this one is tough. Honestly, I think I'm going to side with you, Justin. I think the Sixers are more likely. I don't know why. I just feel like the West, like I said, there's the 4 playoff locks in my opinion. Obviously, anything can change, but like OKC, Memphis, Houston, Dallas, I think those 4 teams, they're starting to separate themselves in the standings. And the Nuggets, I didn't even mention the Nuggets. I think, they haven't had the best season, but they still have Jokic. And they're starting to get healthy again. So I think they're going to be right there in the mix as well. So again, if you count those 5 teams, you only got 3 spots for, like I said, Minnesota, Golden State, Phoenix, the Clippers, San Antonio, and the Kings. It's like those are all really good teams in their own right. And I don't know. I mean, the Sixers, like you said, Justin, I think if they're healthy or even if they just have, 2 of their stars, whether it be Embiid and Paul George or Paul George and Maxey, whatever it is, I feel like they can definitely take down the Nets, the Pistons, Chicago. So I feel like the Sixers are somehow going to sneak into the playoffs. I don't know how. I'm not saying they're going to win a series. They might get swept in the first round, but I just feel like that. I just feel like they're somehow going to figure this out.
I don't think so.
I
I
really
think you
want
guys are overrating them a little bit.
I really hope they don't.
I don't know if I'm overrating them. I just think that the East is just not as competitive or deep, I should say, as the West, I think. And I just feel like it's not that big of a hole right now, at least. It could get a lot worse, but the Sixers are still somehow, they started out pretty bad, but I think if they can just go on a small winning streak, they'll be right back in the mix.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse. If Philly somehow snagging a playoff spot or they stink so bad that they get Cooper flagged. I don't know.
No, that's not happening. That's not going to
I
happen.
don't at this point I don't think it's happening, but like for a minute there I really was thinking that Philly might get a top 5 pick.
I mean, hey, well, anything's possible, man. Anything's possible. But
it's looking like Cooper Flag or Ace Bailey or whoever the number 1 pick is. It looks like they're probably going to Washington.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows? That guy Adam Silver totally messed up the draft. Anybody can have the first pick basically now.
We'll see. We'll see as the season goes on, as the college and all the international prospects who continues to stand out. But yeah, man, it's gonna be definitely interesting playoff push for both of these teams right now. So I thought that was fun, but we're gonna change tune a little bit and get a little, I guess, I don't know, hypothetical, whatever. So last week I think we talked about Jimmy Butler. How was that? That was a big trade rumor. So what do you guys think is more likely? Jimmy Butler getting traded this season, or any of these Pelicans players getting traded? I listed Zion, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum. But there are some reports. The Pelicans, they're currently last in the Western Conference. They've had a really rough season. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. DeJounte Murray's been out. Zion's been out. CJ's been out. So they've fallen all the way to the bottom of the West. And there are some reports from Jake Fisher and Mark Stein. They say New Orleans is open to trading any player not named Herb Jones, Yves Missi, who is their rookie they drafted this year, and Trey Murphy. So they're saying it could be a fire sale in New Orleans. And that could, make someone like Zion potentially available, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. So what do you guys think? Do you think Jimmy Butler is more likely to be traded, or one of these Pelicans players?
I'll let Toby go first because I'm about to yap for a little bit.
I just feel like Jimmy Butler is going to get traded like very soon. I feel like, who knows, maybe by next episode. But I don't know. I feel like it's been a distraction for the Heat all year. They just want to kind of move on at this point. And I don't think they would offer him the money he wanted as far as signing a extension. So I also saw the Warriors. I think they lost, or they were losing by like 50 tonight at one point. So I feel like a loss like this might make them, make a move, especially if they want to push in all their chips with Steph Curry. But I do feel like the Pelicans are gonna trade at least a couple of these players. Brandon Ingram, especially, I feel like he's been in a lot of trade talks recently. And if they trade Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, Zion, I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of like a moving on. Like, they don't want anything to do with them.
I think I agree with almost everything you said, Toby. I think the Pelicans definitely make a move, but I think they kind of wait till the trade deadline when, everybody's trying to make a move. Like everybody's calling like, yo, what do we got to do to get this guy? But Jimmy, I just saw a report, I don't know, maybe 2 days ago that said something like the Heat were taking their time trading Jimmy, trying to find the right suitor, but I feel like somebody sooner or later is going to make a deal like so crazy that the Heat won't be able to refuse it. And I think Jimmy gets traded first, but I think everybody gets traded. And the reason I was smiling, said I was going to start yapping, was because the Zion draft, when he got drafted, he was pissed that New York, the Knicks, didn't get the #1 pick. And he just fired his agent a couple weeks ago because that guy wouldn't make a move to get him to New York. So I don't know. I don't think the Knicks can do it. I don't know if we have what it takes to get a Zion trade done, but Zion to the Knicks would be crazy, bro.
Yeah, I feel like he's the most. I mean, I don't know. I think personally, I think CJ McCollum for some reason would just be, because I just feel like he's older. He's a veteran, but like I feel like there's a lot of teams that would definitely want his services at this stage of his career. And I just feel like New Orleans doesn't have like the relationship, I guess, as much as they do to Zion, who they drafted, or Brandon Ingram, who they traded for, and trading Anthony Davis for. But CJ, I feel like he can be on the move. But Zion is so interesting because like I think when Zion is healthy, he's truly one of the best players in the league, and I think a lot of times we forget that because he's just never available, unfortunately. But if they're saying he's available, I mean, that would be something because it just feels like he's not the type of player you would want to give up on, you know? Like, despite not being able to play, like, he's proven that he is one of the best, like a true superstar, I think. But he just can't get out there, and it's really unfortunate. But if he found a new home and somehow, you know, a new training staff, like, figured out a way to get him healthy, he could definitely alter a franchise, I think, into, like, a championship contender, like, immediately. Depending on who trades for him, of course.
What are we thinking? OG, and McBride, couple picks, get ourselves some Zion.
You guys just paid OG like $250 million. You're gonna trade him already? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if I want that. Yeah, you know what? I was gonna call him a name, but I don't think I want that guy Zion on the Knicks.
wow. Yeah,
I I was just getting all hyped, but now that I think about it, I keep hearing that Stephen A. clip where somebody told him that Zion literally eats the table, and I was like,
jeez.
he comes into every season, he looks shredded, he looks in shape, and then the season goes on and he gets bigger and bigger, and then he gets hurt. Like, I don't know if that trend's gonna stop. So now that I think about it,
Maybe if you guys still had RJ Barrett.
I wish we still had RJ Barrett. I wish we still had RJ Barrett. I bought that guy's jersey, bro. I brought his jersey when he was a rookie.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. This is interesting. But you said Jimmy Butler, right, Toby?
I think Jimmy Butler.
Do you have a definitive answer, Justin?
No, I think Jimmy Butler gets traded first.
All right. Yeah, I think it's also Butler, but again, I think any of these Pelicans players, it's just so fascinating that they're last in the Western Conference. I feel like that changes a lot because that really feels like, you know, it's time to start rebuilding. But it's so weird because they have such a young team. I feel like, but I don't know. It's
Such
very
good
interesting.
players. Like, I don't know how. I mean, I guess if everybody's hurt, I can understand why they stink, but they're all good. Like, they're not bums.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just something that sometimes it just doesn't work out, unfortunately. But
Yeah, that's how it goes.
yeah, yeah. I think Jimmy is probably going to be on the move here soon. But we'll see. Like you said, Toby, we could be talking about it soon. But moving on, talk about some potential playoff outcomes, I guess, for two teams, the Grizzlies and the Cavs. Both of these teams, you know, like we've mentioned, are off to great starts. The Grizzlies currently second in the Western Conference. The Cavs, I think they're first still. But what's more likely, the Grizzlies making the Western Conference Finals or the Cavs making the Eastern Conference Finals? And I thought this was interesting. So the Grizzlies haven't made the conference finals since 2013 against San Antonio. That was a year, I think LeBron won his, second championship in Miami? Because they won in 2012 and 2013. And then, so yeah, they haven't made the conference finals since 2013. This is the Grizzlies. And this is the 30th season for Memphis. This was the only time they had made a conference finals in their whole franchise's history. That team had Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph, Mike Conley. Again, not a lot of playoff success in Memphis, but with John Morant and this team, that could change. And then for the Cavs, they've only made the conference finals twice without LeBron on their team.
Wow.
In 55 seasons. So they've been around for a very long time. They have not had much success, at least in the playoffs, without Mr. James. So the two times they made the conference finals without LeBron was in 1976. They went 49-31 that season, and they were led by a center. His name was Jim Jones. Someone who I don't know. This is funny. He's a 6'11" center. And I watched some highlights. It was like some game against the Pistons, I think. He had like 26 points, I think, or 24 points on all jumpers. And the broadcaster was like, Jones, one of the best big man shooters in the league, or something. It just felt like this was a more of a modern player. I don't know, someone who I've never heard of, but
In the
apparently
wrong
he
era.
was. Yeah, apparently he was a stretch big back down, back in the 70s. So shout out Jim Jones. Helped them get to a conference finals. And then again in 1992, that team kind of more known in history. They had Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, Craig Elo, Larry Nance. Steve Kerr was on that team as well. And they had a rookie, Terrell Brandon, who was a two-time All-Star.
2K legend. 2K
Yeah,
legend.
and like
right there,
I guess like late 90s, like early 2000s. So a really solid team. That team kind of reminds me of the Cavs today, just kind of the roster construction. But again, the question was, what do you guys think is more likely? The Grizzlies making the Western Conference Finals or the Cavs making the Eastern Conference Finals?
Now, even though Memphis is the 2 seed in the West currently, I'm taking the Cavs. I think the West is too stacked. Like you said, Jory, almost every team who's in play-in contention could probably make it to the Western Conference Finals. Every team in the West is that good. I think it's just when it gets down to, the semifinals or the quarterfinals right before the conference finals. I think just whoever's in that pool of teams can realistically win it. So I'm taking the Cavs because the only teams who have a realistic shot of making the conference finals in the East are the Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, and Knicks, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also said the Cavs. I feel like I've mentioned before, I think it's them in Boston. I feel like the Cavs are beating any other team in the East, including the Knicks. And I feel like the Grizzlies would either have to beat the Thunder or the Suns or the Mavericks, and I don't see them beating any one of those teams. So unless they get somebody like Jimmy Butler, like Justin said, then that's going to change the story.
I don't
But
know.
yeah,
I might have to tell Spencer you said that.
the Cavs. You could tell Spencer I said that. The Cavs are, in my opinion, one of the best like three-point shooting teams in the league too. So I don't know. I like them.
Yeah, I mean, to me, based on what I've seen, I think the Cavs, I don't know, it's hard not to pick them. But I'll talk about the Grizzlies just for a sec because, I think the West is interesting. Obviously, the Thunder have been really good. But, Chet Holmgren is still out with an injury, and there's questions of whether or not he's going to even be able to return. And I do think that would make an impact in the playoffs, especially. The Rockets have been very good this year, but I just don't know if they have I don't know if they're going to make a run in the playoffs or the conference finals with this young team.
Have the veteran experience.
Yeah, so it could be, a little shaky come playoff time, but regardless, they've been very good. And then the Mavericks, they have, obviously made the finals last year. I think they're going to be a real contender come playoff time. But, outside of that, I just feel like Memphis has been, the best team in the West. And I feel like they have a legit chance of getting to the conference finals, just given the inconsistencies of some of these other teams like the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, Phoenix. I don't know. I think Memphis is right there for the, contention of, winning the Western Conference. So we'll see. But the Cavs, again, they've been the best team in the league, I think, so far. So if I had to pick, I'd probably say Cleveland.
Yeah, but you do make a good point about the Grizzlies. They're the 2 seed for a reason up to this point in the season. Like, they're not just getting lucky every night. So, playoff time, you never know. Some teams who lower in the standings or lower in the seeding, I was going to say that your Nuggets, Nuggets, Grizzlies, matchup, Jokic knows what he's doing come playoff time. Like he's not messing around. So I don't know. I think the Cavs are an easy pick for this, but I'll give the Grizzlies their respect. Like they have a shot at making it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. That would be a good series though. Them versus the Nuggets. I don't know. I feel like they can definitely beat like some of those teams. Like they can get to the conference semifinals for sure. But I don't know. I don't see it happening.
Off topic, real quick. Jorie Mickens, I saw that Denver might be trying to do a Jamal Murray for De'Aaron Fox swap.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. I don't know. We'll
No
see.
way that's happening. No way that's happening.
I don't think so, but I saw it and I was like, oh man, that would be crazy. The slowest player in the league and the fastest player in the league on the same team.
Yeah. I don't know. Jokic is he's got some wheels now. I think he can move in the open court. But, like you said, we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure we'll talk about all these kinds of trades moving forward. But all right, so moving on to the next one.
Excuse me.
The Atlanta Hawks. They've been playing pretty well to start the season. I think surprising a handful of people, but they got two players who are on pace to do something pretty cool here. Trae Young, he's currently on pace for 955 assists this season. He's only missed one game, I think, through the Hawks' first 26, I believe. So, he's been available, and he's leading the NBA in assists. So, 955, remember that number. And then Dyson Daniels is on pace for 237 steals. He has been a menace defensively all season long. And he also has only missed, I think, 1 or 2 games. So, again, he's been very available. But the reason why I picked these two numbers is random. So 955 assists for Trae Young. That would be the highest total the NBA has seen since John Stockton in 1995. In that season, he had 1,011 assists.
Dang.
And like I said, Dyson Daniels on pace for 237 steals. That would be the most since also John Stockton. In 1992, he had 244 steals that season. So I thought that was funny. John Stockton, the last guy to put up these, statistical anomalies, I guess.
Better than Chris Paul.
Yeah, I know. We were just talking about him last week. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Trae Young doing 955 assists or Dyson Daniels getting all these steals?
Toby, you go. You go, Toby.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, they could both break like those records or reach those milestones or whatever. I feel like for some reason, I feel like Dyson Daniels one is a little more realistic only because, I mean, that guy locks up. Like, and that guy's been playing really good this year, I feel like. But I don't know. I think I don't know the statistics, but I feel like there's a lot more turnovers nowadays than, 10, 20 years ago. And yeah, I don't know if Trae Young can stay healthy for like the rest of the year. I mean, I know he stayed healthy up to this point, which is really good, but we'll see. I don't know. I like Dyson Daniels though.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, in my notes, I just put down a question mark because you said you were going to explain. So I didn't want to make any notes before you explained all the lore to these numbers. But I think I might also pick Dyson Daniels just because I feel like he can control that more. I feel like he can control whether he gets a steal more than if Trae Young passes to Dyson Daniels and he misses. Like, I feel like passing is a lot more reliant on who you're playing with. So, I don't know. Just for that weird reason, I think I might pick Dyson Daniels getting the steals, but I don't really know. I honestly, it'd be pretty sick to see them both even break the records. So,
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you make a good point about the assist thing and, just like it having that's just more relying on your teammates actually making shots. But I don't know. I mean, Trae Young has been really good. I think we talked uh, earlier in the year about like Jokic potentially leading the NBA in rebounds and assists, and now it's just that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just Trae Young, I think he's doing his thing, man. Um, but I just think it's crazy that both of these guys are on the same team. And I mean, we were just talking about the Pelicans. They just got rid of Dyson Daniels for some reason. They thought DeJounte Murray was the answer when they could have just kept this guy and would have been another piece down in New Orleans. But yeah, I think I probably agree with you guys. I think Dyson Daniels getting all these steals. And again, if he does that, I think his average right now is like 3 steals a game, which is ridiculous. But he's, I think, going to be in legit conversations for a Defensive Player of the Year. We'll see, obviously, Wembanyama, I think, who we all picked to win preseason. But Dyson Daniels can make this interesting if he does some crazy number in the steals department. But, yeah. Shout out Trae Young. Shout out Dyson Daniels. Shout out the Hawks. All right, last one. And this is, it's just a more generic question. What's more likely, a first-time MVP winner, someone like this guy behind me winning an MVP, or a former MVP winner? And I think the 2 names that really stand out for former MVPs are Jokic and Giannis, making, their cases, I think, every night. But, like I said, you got SGA, you got Luka, who's never won an MVP, Jason Tatum, who's never won an MVP. The Celtics have been playing very well. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna say former MVP because I think it's Giannis right now. I think Giannis is the MVP. If it's not him, I think it's Jokic. The only first time MVP candidate, in my opinion, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now. You can maybe say Jason Tatum could be an MVP candidate. I don't think what's his name? The other guy, Luka Doncic. I don't think he's a candidate because of everybody knows that he is not a good defender at all. Like even when it just comes to the effort side of it. So I think just because of that, that's a big knock on his MVP case. I'm a Jason Tatum hater, so I'm not gonna give him any respect. But I think Shai Gilgeous, he has a shot at winning it. But I think it's probably Giannis or Jokic at this point.
All right. I'm gonna take that we're gonna get a new MVP this year. I agree with you. I think if the season ended today, I'd probably give it to Giannis. But with that being said, I feel like I believe in voter fatigue. Honestly, I feel like the NBA wants to get somebody new in as MVP. Definitely don't want to give Jokic another MVP.
He'd have
And I
more,
feel like
wait, would he have more or the same amount as LeBron if he won another one?
I think he's had the
Oh,
same
Lord.
amount, right? 4?
This
Or
would be his 4th.
think so, right?
Yeah, he has LeBron has 4 MVPs. He won in 2009, 2010, 2012, 2013. Jokic has 3. So
Okay.
if he won this season, he would have 4 and tie
Right.
LeBron.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Kobe.
Nah, you're good. I feel like this is SGA's year at this point to get the MVP. If he can, come through at the second half of the year and compete, if he has a better team than the Bucks, then I feel like that should help him out a little bit. But also Jason Tatum, I feel like, he's never won MVP. He's been playing like an MVP so far this year. Again, if record plays a factor, I feel like they're probably going to end with, one of the top seeds in the East. So I don't know. I feel like SGA is going to come through with it when it's all said and done.
That
Yeah.
is a good point, Toby, that you made about the voter fatigue. You always talk about the voter fatigue. And
True.
honestly, I think this might be the year where they finally switch up. If it's any year, it's probably this year with Shea, especially since Chat is gone, like Chat's down. If they keep winning, it could be Shea, but I don't know, dude. That guy Giannis, he's too good.
To me,
Yeah, he really is.
the only thing I think that could swing the voters is depending on where the Bucks and Nuggets finish in the standings, because the Nuggets at least have kind of been up and down, and the West is very competitive, like we talked about earlier. So, I don't know what the record for Denver is. I don't know if they're going to miss the playoffs. Like, I kind of think they're probably going to make the playoffs, but if they're like the 6th seed in the West or something, and the Thunder are the number 1 seed. Not to say that SGA's stats would be like Jokic or even Giannis's, but that could be a factor, especially. But
I mean, Westbrook won. Didn't he win MVP as a 6th seed?
yeah, I think. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that was the year he averaged a triple double.
Yeah, you're right.
But who knows? I mean, Jokic could get pretty close to that. Giannis obviously playing very well, so he's going to have some crazy numbers. But I don't know. I think I'm going to say SGA right now. MVP. I think what Jokic is doing is definitely incredible, but again, I think it's going to come down to like a record thing. Cuz at least last year with the voting, I think the Nuggets were like 1 game behind the Thunder in the standings. But if it's a huge gap, I can definitely see a lot of voters being like, oh, well, he's not doing it on the best team in the league. And that could definitely give a few more points to SGA. So I think I'm going to say first-time winner.
All right, I like that.
And who knows? We'll see how high the Mavericks can get in the standings. If Luka continues to play well, I think. But like you said, Justin, the defense, the voters might not like that. SGA, I think, definitely is a better defender. But yeah, that's all I got. I thought this was fun. Like, I think we covered a lot of topics, so that's how I wanted to do it. Go around the league. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah,
Any parting
like that.
words?
yeah.
By the next episode, it's probably going to be past Christmas. So Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
And the Knicks are whooping up on the T-Wolves right now. Love to see it.
Yes. Enjoy the holidays. And yeah, until next time, we'll be seeing you.